fire for your mind. The Kosher Clinician.
If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toast them. Young heads picking back up and young dope them. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues. Absent fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you. All a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women clipping babies pretend to. Damn. Lovers, haters acting like vultures. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.
Before there was the manosphere, I was. Before there was the internet, I was. I was that signal male crying out in the wilderness for justice and equality for those that are downtrodden and broken, those that are voiceless. I was the kosher clinician. Before I was the kosher clinician on the internet. My plight and my war cry for justice and humanity is nothing fake. But I've always been kosher. And sit back and get this kosher fire.
Hello everyone. Is there equality in America, fact or fantasy? First of all, I would like to salute all fellow human beings and most graciously those who are beacons of light for justice and righteousness. To vocally explain the tenets of equality, fact or fantasy, I must begin with the combination of 2 alphabets, I and F, which spells if. There's no respect of person, but gives protection to all them that fear him. So therefore I ask you this profound and non-scholastic question. If there was equality in America, will I be standing here today? You decide, fact or fantasy. All right.
This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition.
Michael B. Jordan, the director and the star of Creed 3. And, you know, we know each other. We go way back all the way to Chad Science in Newark, okay?
The corny kid, right?
No, I did not say that. Misquoted for sure. No, you did not hear me say. I said we used to make fun of the name. But yeah, he is obviously killing things out here. Isn't this the sexiest man show off right here? Who's the sexiest man? Because now who's the sexiest man? Because I thought you said he might be the one right now.
This is the one. This is the one right here.
So is it a tie?
No tie. We don't compete. Yeah, we don't compete.
2 number 1. Batman and Batman. Or should I? Oh no, can't say that. Superman and Superman, sorry.
Good luck with that.
Well, you're not corny anymore.
Was created. Not really. What she's really saying is the women are not feminine anymore. They don't do anything that wives do. They don't hold the same values that a wife would hold anymore. They mostly hoes. They mostly all doing the same thing. That's why she said it ain't many. And her little devil, the little demon next to her, and we the prize. Y'all are not the prize. And if women can sit there and be truthful in any type of situation such as this, then you have all these other hyenas that don't want her to talk about what they doing. Why don't she want her to talk? Because she telling the truth. Because if a woman can now sit and say, nah, we kind of ain't nothing. We down bad too. Then how do you think the men have felt in all of this time? How do you think black men have been made to feel in all of this time? Looking around and it's a needle in a haystack. It's a needle in a haystack.
I know what you're waiting for. You're waiting for me to just start singing it. But I just think it's like, have we put enough fine a point on this that this woman is married to Jay-Z? She's got children in wedlock. Let's not skip over this. Legitimate children in wedlock. Married for a long time to Jay-Z. And she's telling you that you're supposed to be an independent woman. All the ladies, independent, throw your hands up in here. All the ladies get money, throw your hands up in here. Charlie, how your edges are down like that? Tell me how your edges are down like that.
Whew. How does it feel to know that you failed at life? Like, let me rephrase it in a way that you'll be more liable to answer me respectfully, hopefully. But I know you men, you lot don't like to take accountability for a bunch of stuff. So let's say, how does it feel to know that life failed you?
A woman who has chores is drinking a bottle of wine in the bathroom.
Like, how does it feel to know that because you are so insufferable, ignorant, and arrogant, that all of the women, all of the female species in your vicinity are repulsed by you? Like, how does it feel to know that because you're so uncomfortable to be around, because you're so disturbing to the women in your vicinity, you have to actually go travel to the corners of the earth where nobody knows you. You have to skip out on a 2,000-mile radius to go to a community where nobody knows you because everyone that does want nothing to do with you.
She is on the phone with 911 right now.
But if you are new here, let's briefly go through the profile of your passport brother. So they are a very dusty sector of the internet. Okay, they are a group of dusty nignogs who travel specifically to get access to ex and women abroad. And they say it's because they want access to better groups of women who are fit and feminine and submissive. But here is the reality. These dudes are broke. They're non-select, like Philosophy said. They're dusty incels who no one wants in America. So they take their little couple of coins that they earn from throwing boxes at FedEx to third world countries where the value of the US dollar is higher and the cost of living is cheaper.
At any given moment, I was probably chatting with 12 quality men. And I took away preferences. Like, after I realized that... At any given moment, I was talking to 12 quality men. Black women, please. We're not going to Europe. Pretend that this is not...
Y'all were literally about to blow the US up because of this passport bro mess. How do you think this is not the same thing?
Black women say that they get much more love and appreciation from non-American men. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, you know what's interesting? I think Black women do get taken for granted in the US. And there is an appreciation and an adoration and an admiration that international men do have for Black women. And this is fetish aside.
What?
Hypersexualization aside, there is this like, oh my goodness, you're a goddess, and what have I done to be so lucky to be in your presence?
It's cool. There's some differences, but do you not see the similarities, or is it just me?
You guys think, how many bodies does it take for a girl to become a hoe?
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think it's like very age conditioned, but I do think like, I don't know, because I know some people like, I think it's like double digits. Yeah, that's when you like become a hoe. I think a hoe can reform, but
are you sure about that?
Yeah.
What when she goes to church?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Rehabilitation.
How you found virgin?
But then like, oh, this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but like I'm only 19. I've never fucked before. Like I've still never been fucked. I'm still a virgin.
I don't think that's embarrassing at all.
I've obviously done like stuff with guys, 9 guys to like count. But people would still call me a hoe because I like post provocative, or like, I think it's just very subjective on what you think a hoe is. Like, I have people call me a hoe every day because I like post half naked, but I've actually never been fucked before. And like all my hoeing is like, I've done like online stuff and whatever, but yeah.
There's levels to hoeing though, so that's what I will say. There's levels. You know, you can get an escort that's going to do everything. You can get an escort that's going to talk to you on the phone. Like there's levels to hoeing.
I mean, one level is language, right? And so, if you refer to yourself as like being fucked, I'm very like confused.
Got it.
Or like made love, or
yeah, you want to use one of the nice words, you know?
Your opinion on this so-called group?
Let me tell you, they weren't even on my radar. You brought it up to me, and then I saw it, and I was just like, oh, that's cute. You know, guys go and get their passports. My son just got his passport last week. He's 9, so that's cool. Passport brothers, that's what's up. Then I started doing the research, and I'm like, wait a minute. Because I grew up, you know, with 2-parent household. My parents still happily married. I grew up in love. Some people grew up in survival mode, and maybe they just in a whole nother dimension of trying to find love or trying to find easy situations and everything. But at the same time, it was like, why do you have to put down the thing that you don't like in front of everybody just to get the thing that you do want?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Back many pounds ago, when about 2018, 2019. I remember this because I was living in Kingwood at the time. And this is on the north side of Houston.
Okay.
And I went out one night, just on the hunt. She's known as a rapper out here.
Okay.
Like, people know her for rapping. All this poet and activist stuff, nobody know her for that. People know her for like one of the female rappers in the city. She definitely know how to rock a mic.
Okay.
I'll say that. But
no pun intended.
Double entendre.
Oh no.
But getting right into it, you know, we got to talking outside the club. She's standing outside her car, and we were talking for a minute. It led to when everybody left, the club was closed, and we were still outside talking. We get to my car, and she gets inside. She playing me all her music, and she starts to want to unload to me about her personal situation. She got 2 kids.
Okay.
And, you know, women love to talk down on the father of their kids, you know, which is reckless. I hate when women do this. I automatically shut that down.
Why do you have to put down the thing that you don't like in front of everybody just to get the thing that you do?
You know, I don't know, dude. I don't want to not like somebody I don't know, so stop talking about it. And I shut that down, but she crying about it, how hard it is in her life to be going through this without any help financially and all this. You know, this is what's really going on in her life. And then one thing led to another. I said, you want to go to my house? And she agreed. She left her car there. We drove to Kingwood. You know, we did what we did. spent the rest of the night together. First night, took her home. And once we were done, till the sun came up, I took her back to her car, dropped her off. And we had very little contact after that. She invited me to one of her shows a few days later. And I go to the show, we talking, and she's acting like a little standoffish because I guess she has somebody there.
Right.
And but we speak, we were cordial, and at the end of the night, I see her leaving, and she left with another guy. You know, who I don't know if that could have been the baby daddy, the guy she lived with. I don't know who he was, but she was really nonchalant with me, acting like she really didn't know me personally, even though we had just spent that night together.
But is it all about sex and just a girlfriend for hire?
And this is what I want to say, man, because for you to criticize Austin and you say that he's trying to get women to come home on the first night, the spirit of prostitution is in everything that you're doing.
Oh,
the way that you're moving, the spirit is the same.
Hi, I just finished my chores and I've been on TikTok for 5 minutes. And I have a question for the Passport Bros.
All right, guys, we're about to get started in a minute as we talk about the phenomena of the invisible male. And the question would be asked, have some of you been invisible men? And has the passport movement more or less become the new invisible male because men are becoming indifferent and men are becoming to live their lives or beginning to live their lives on their own? I want you guys to sit back and enjoy the show tonight as we talk about black men that were invisible becoming invisible again due to indifference and leaving Babylon and going to Zion, consistent with Bishop Charles E. Williams. Let's do it.
Then said he unto me,
Then the Lord said unto me,
Prophesy unto the wind.
Preach unto the wind.
Prophesy, son of man.
Preach, son of man.
And say to the wind.
And say to the wind.
Thus saith the Lord God.
Thus saith the Lord God.
Come from the four winds.
Come from the north, south, east, and west.
O breath.
O breath.
And breathe upon these slings.
And breathe upon these dead bodies.
That they may live.
That they may live.
So I prophesied as he commanded me.
So I preached as the Lord commanded me.
And the breath came into them.
And breath came into them.
And they lived.
And they lived.
And stood up upon their feet.
And they stood upon their feet.
An exceeding great army.
An exceeding great army.
That wind, and preach to the east wind, and preach to the west wind, and tell the wind to blow on these bodies. And the preacher started preaching, said all winds, all four winds, said blow on these bodies that they may live. And when the preacher started preaching, the wind started blowing, and all of those dead bodies, they came alive. The Bible said, and they stood up on their feet, an exceeding great army. But I heard the preacher said to them, you've been here long enough. You've been down in Babylon long enough. You've been dead and dry long enough. You've been separated long enough. Now let's come out of this valley. Let's go back to Zion. I heard them say, follow me. It's time now for a new beginning. Enough is enough. It's time for a new beginning. Come on and follow me. I heard them singing and they started to Jerusalem. We are marching to Zion.
Fire for your mind. The Kosher Clinician.
If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up and young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues. Absent fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you. All a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women clipping babies pretend to. Damn. Lovers, haters acting like vultures. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.
All right, guys, it's going to be a good show tonight. Get your pens and paper ready as we bring it to you live from the greatest state in the union, the Tar Heel State, as we talk about the invisible male and why being corny might be bad in your formative years, but greater as always later. Let's do it. Bringing it to you live once again from the greatest state in the union, the Tar Heel State, where the topography is serene, pristine, and verdant green, where every day is Father's Day, and where manhood is part of hills and valleys, victories and failures, and whereas men, we don't agree on all things or ideologies, but tonight we come together as allies of a common cause, only to dissipate once the crisis is over. Now listen, I'm about to drop some fire for your mind. But before I drop that fire, let's explore why we are doing the Manhood Chronicles. All right, guys, we're going to get into it deep on tonight. And we're going to be talking about a topic, guys, about being corny. As you guys know, Michael B. Jordan was classified as being corny. He was classified as being corny. But he was being classified as being corny because, sadly, we live in a world where we don't value men of greatness and we don't value men like Michael B. Jordan because we take those men for granted. Now, you might ask the question, why does a therapist talk about Michael B. Jordan and also men being corny? Some of you men in your formative years, in your 20s, when you were in college, when you were 18, you were seen as corny. The world didn't respect you. The women did not respect you. And sure, some will say, get over it. But see, you can't get over something until a person acknowledges what they did to you. And some of you men are still dealing with what's called schema afflictions because that maladaptive thought has rendered you hopeless as relates to dealing with the typical American woman. But see, many men are becoming invisible, not for the fact or sake, because even though there are women that don't respect and see these hardworking brothers that are IT guys and make $50,000 a year, the blue-collar brothers, the teachers or whatever, but they're becoming invisible because they are becoming indifferent. And see, in the clinical world, there's a concept called sublimation. And sublimation in psychology, guys, simply means this. Sublimation in psychology is a mature type of defense mechanism in which socially unacceptable impulses or ideations are transformed into social acceptable actions or behaviors, possibly resulting in a long-term conversion of the initial impulse. Now, if you guys remember when I told you guys in the past, there's a such thing called the id, the ego, and the superego. The id is more regressive as it relates to being in denial, but the id is also primitive. Some of you men have used a primitive ego as it relates to modern women in modern times, but as you begin to mature and as you get into your conscience, which is your base and your awareness, some of you may have vacillated between the unconscious simp, which basically means to supplement irrational male patterns, because when you are an unconscious simp, you still believe in the fairy tale called love. And you still think love is enough to keep a woman into a relationship. Now listen, we know that there are some good women out here, and shout out to all the good women that are trying to do the right thing. They're trying to get good men, and they have good hearts. Shout out to you, sisters. But sadly, they are too far and few in between. So what the unconscious simp does, he supplements, meaning he takes his good and gives it to a woman that's not worthy of it. He supplements irrational male patterns of behaviors. And many times unconscious simps were raised in environments and homes where they didn't have fathers. So that's what makes them unconscious simps. They are not aware of their pathology. They're not aware that they should be standing in power instead of standing in subjugation to a woman that has not been conditioned to respect and honor them as a man. You have to recalibrate your mind to become the best version of yourself. But sadly, some of you men are invisible. You were invisible in your formative years. You were invisible in your teen years. Some of you good brothers were invisible in college. But now you're becoming invisible, not because you don't, the women don't respect you, but you're becoming invisible because you're becoming indifferent, and you're getting your passport, and you're using the healthy ego defense mechanism called sublimation to take what you thought was right and modify and change it for the good. And see, when you start using sublimation, you don't cry anymore. You don't become frustrated anymore when you use sublimation. You don't let women get you off your rocker. You don't let women get you off your square when you begin to use sublimation. And the last stage is for the evolved men. The evolved men, guys, are those black men and white men and men from different countries. They understand that when they're in their conscious, they can vacillate between being the unconscious simp and also the conscious simp. The conscious simp stands for sacrificing important masculine principles. That's the conscious simp. Sacrificing important masculine principles. But consistent with Sigmund Freud, the conscious was part of the ego. Sometimes your ego, man, will betray you. Your ego can and will betray you if you're not aware of the power that you have. You think just because you have sex with her, that's going to keep her satisfied. But that can't keep her satisfied if she's had many lovers before you. Your ego think that you can change her by being a good provider and a protector. But when she lives in a world where the world tells her she's great just because, your ego can't change her. But see, what the man that's walking in his purpose and the man that has evolved, what that man does, now he's in the super ego, which is his morality. And morality is predicated on boundaries. Morality is predicated on the right to self-determination. But also morality says this to you men. Your morality say my value system is here and my boundaries are here. And if you supersede what my values are and my boundaries, you can't be in my life because you have evolved. You're no longer in the primitive, which is the id, which is primitive and also in denial and regressive about female nature. But now you're in the super ego where you know what your conscience say. Joseph was in his super ego. He was a man. Joseph understood the pleasures and the allure of a woman. But see, Joseph was not so besmirched to the point that he wrestled with his values to appease a woman. You got to be so on your square, understanding yourself that, yes, I love women. Yes, I love the pleasures of being around a woman. Yes, I love sex, but that woman is not going to get me off my square because, see, my values and my boundaries is more important than the fleeting notion of sex and the fleeting feelings of sex. And when you could do that on a consistent basis, you won't be like Steve Urkel. You will become more like Urkel, the picture of Steve where he's a masculine man. You won't be like the little scrawny kid where you might be a man physically, but psychologically you're still Steve Urkel because you're in a regressive state of your consciousness. You are in a regressive state of your consciousness because your development has been arrested based on the pain that you've experienced from the women that you've dealt with. When you're a victim of arrested development, you are stuck in a psychosocial stage of your development where you can't progress any further. You're still living in the past and you're still in denial about female nature. That's why when men come to an epiphany, And that's why when men come into these spaces and understand and see female nature for what it is, it leaves them in a state of denial and also in a state of confusion, which in essence leads them to rage. Some of you men right now are still going through grief. You're going through the grief psychologically of the past. You're going through the grief of divorce. You're going through a myriad of different things associated with grief. But once you understand how much power that you have, then you will no longer become or be a slave to, the things of your past. But you will begin to graduate from your id, which is primitive. You begin to more or less be aware, which is your consciousness, which is your ego. But then you will evolve into the super ego where whatever happened to you in the past no longer matters. And see, the passport game or passport bros goes or is consistent with sublimation, because the men that were invisible in the past are becoming or beginning to become invisible because they are indifferent. They're becoming indifferent. The greatest or the opposite to hate is indifferent. You just don't care anymore. And that's going to be of epic proportion to those that think that black men or men in general are going to be a plan B. See, some of these women too are having schema affliction men. They're having schema afflictions because they thought that you were going to be their plan B. They thought that you were going to be the canary in the coal mine or the man that was going to rescue them after they had their fun, after they did not value you, or after they put themselves and their career before their purpose, which was to more or less to serve you and to respect you. And then you turn around and love her and die for her if you have to. But the problem with modern relationships is this, guys. Many want the benefits of a masculine man. They want the protection of a masculine man. They want the honor of a masculine man, but they don't want to be honorable and condition their ego and condition their feelings in service to the man that they love. I'm convinced that a woman can never truly love a man until she becomes disciplined. A man can never evolve, become the man that he needs to become until he becomes disciplined. And as you get older, men, it becomes easier because your testosterone levels become a little lower. It doesn't mean you still don't want sex. And also it's based on how healthy that man is in his latter years. But if a man can consistently be disciplined in regarding the primitive side of his nature, then that woman no longer has power over you. Some of you men are slaves to the validation of a woman. Some of you men are slaves to your loins. And I get it, especially to the younger men that's full of testosterone. I get it. But you have to learn how to be disciplined. And I didn't say it was easy. It's hard. But once you have power over your phallus, then you will no longer become a slave to a woman. Now watch this. A man that's primitive is a slave to a woman because he's in his id. But a man that's masculine and evolved, even though he understands that he still loves women and sex, he does not let that control him as a man. And that's how you evolve. And men are beginning to evolve. Some are going into monk mode. Monk mode just means I'm going to be on standby until. Now, I don't necessarily believe that monk mode is something you should do long term because it's not healthy. But for some men, monk mode keeps them grounded until they can get their wives, until they can get their wife. If they can't find their wife here, then they go and find their wife in another country. With the understanding, men, that when you travel abroad, women universally are the same. What makes foreign women in general, and I'm going to say in general, different is how they have been raised, how they have been socialized, and their value system. I'm going to say it again. Socialization and values play a role in the evolution of a woman. Her temperament does play a role too. But in general, at her base level, she wants provision, protection, security, and she wants you to stand in power. She wants you to be a man. She wants a man that she can look up to. That's why women tend to like taller men like myself. They like men that are above 6 feet. I'm 6'5", 6'6". But that's not the topic of conversation. I'm trying to paint a picture so that you men can understand what your value is, what your worth is, and how you no longer have to be a slave to the psychopathology of the typical modern woman. We know there are some good sisters out there. They're part of the remnant. But by and large, good men that have done the work, good men that have studied, good men that have been to school for 6 years, you just don't have time to keep waiting for mediocrity. You don't have time to battle with a woman that wants you as it relates to traditionalism, but she can't respect you as it relates to you being the man and you being masculine. Because I want to share something with you, men. You matter. Your worth matter. Your sacrifices matter. But many times men suffer in silence because no one told them that they matter. Some of you men have been invisible for a long period of time. There's 33% of men that are virgins. Some will argue that those men are invisible. But one will ask the question to the 33% of men that are virgins, should those men also get virgins? Or should they get with women that have had their fun? And what I mean by fun, you know what I'm talking about. And some will say, ran through. So a woman that's had a lot of fun, how can she really be a benefit to a man that if he waited for his wife because he was invisible, he either waited by default or he waited because they said he wasn't good enough? You got women now that say $40,000 and $50,000 is not good enough. So men will say, okay, that's good. I'm a lame, I'm corny, and I'm a loser. But guess what? Greater always comes later when you can condition yourself like Michael B. Jordan, when you focus on your craft, when you focus on your purpose, when you focus on your gifts and your strengths based on self-awareness. You're not worried about what that woman say. Some of the same women sometimes didn't show me or you guys love in your 20s and 30s. They want you now, but I don't. If I was a single man, I don't want them because they don't meet my standards. See, the trend changes, men, as you get older if you've done the work. It changes because you become more self-aware. You become more, You become more confident. And you're not mesmerized by, no booty box or her hips or whatever. You're not mesmerized by that. You just laugh at it. And you begin to focus on what you know what your worth is. Because at the end of the day, your mental health matters, your dignity as a man matters, and your self-worth matters. But sublimation, guys, once again, it's a healthy ego defense mechanism. And I'm going to show you guys some of the thinking errors of some of these modern women. You guys saw in the clip earlier. But part of me being kosher and part of you being kosher is understanding female nature. So in the meantime, let me read through some of these super chats, guys. Hold tight. And thank you to everyone that's been donating on tonight. I appreciate it, brother. Shout out to my man, Gregory Scotland. Gregory Scotland said, let's face it, many of these black women use terms as corny to put us up on screens. I'm agreeing with KC and Crimson Cure and Edward Ans that many of these women, these black women don't qualify. No doubt, man. I appreciate it. And that's a deal, right? Thank you, brother. And then also shout out to my man Brandon Jett for the 25 pin. I appreciate it, Brandon Jett. That's a deal, Brandon Jett said for tonight's therapy session, I appreciate it, brother. As a proud nerd, corny, educated lame by some people can relate to this. I was actually called Steve Urkel in school. However, the 20-year high school reunion was totally a different story. Damn right. And I respect you, Brandon Jett. I love and honor and respect good brothers like yourself because better is always later, man. Better is always later. Shout out to my man, Yoga. He said he's watching all the way from Thailand. Appreciate it, Yoga. I appreciate it, brother. And you're right, Brandon Jett. But Brandon Jett, because of your love offering, you and my man, Gregory Scotland, you two brothers are now the number one sponsor of this stream. I appreciate it, guys. And thank you for the support. Thank you.
It's the money.
All right, guys, back to point. Passports and sublimations. And the passport is the great emancipator for a lot of men. The passport, guys, is the great emancipator for a lot of men because men are beginning to see what their worth is. But I'm going to go back in time, guys, and this is the part of the show where we assess, analyze, and then collaborate. And I'm going to show you guys some of the thinking errors of so many modern women as it relates to you and how some of them see you as a man here in America. So I'm about to show you guys something. You guys tell me what y'all think. But this is going to give credence to passports and sublimations. Hold tight.
Jordan, the director.
I played this earlier.
Of Creed 3. And, we know each other. We go way back all the way to Chad Science in Newark, okay?
Corny kid, right?
No, I did not say that. Misquoted for sure. No, you did not hear me say I said we used to make fun of the name. But yeah, he is obviously killing things out here. Isn't this the sexiest man? Show off right here. Who's the sexiest man? Because now who's the sexiest man? Because I thought you he might be the one right now.
This is the one. This is the one right here.
So is it a tie?
We don't compete. Yeah, we don't compete.
Two number ones. Batman and Batman. Or should I? Oh, no, can't say that.
Superman and Superman.
Superman and Superman, sorry.
Good luck with that.
Well, you're not corny anymore.
Was created.
And guys, that goes back. That goes back, guys, to what Michael B. Jones said. I did a show in the past, and I'm gonna bring that show up. But Mike Jones said back then she didn't want me. Now that I'm hot, they all own me. I'm going to say it again. Mike Jones said that back then they didn't want me. Now that I'm hot, they all own me. And so as men begin to evolve like Brandon Jett, you know, I'm sure Brandon Jett is an IT guy, always showing love to the brothers in this space. Shout out to that brother. But as men begin to evolve, guys, the same women that turned you down in your 20s, now they want you to be on their team. But you're going to ask yourself the question after the damage and the trauma that many of them have been gone through or been through, what can they give you as a man? What can they come or do to enter into your life to make you feel worthy as a man? Men are becoming invisible. The invisible man is now becoming invisible again as he's evolving because he no longer sees the typical modern woman as worthy of his time, worthy of his resources, or worthy of his protection. That's why Bella is always later, man, once you evolve and once you can more or less graduate from the id and operate in your super ego, which is your consciousness and which is your moral base, which will be predicated on values and boundaries. That's what you need to work in and work on. Once you can do that at a successive level, then you're no longer a slave to the feelings and the idiosyncrasies of the typical modern woman.
Isn't this the sexiest man? Show off right here. Who's the sexiest man? Because now who's the sexiest man? Because I thought you the one right now.
This is the one. This is the one right here.
So is it a tie?
No tie. We don't compete. Yeah, we don't compete.
Two number ones. Batman and Batman. Or should I? Oh, no, can't say that.
Superman and Superman.
Superman and Superman, sorry.
Good luck with that.
Well, you're not corny anymore.
Was created. Not really what she's really saying is the women are not feminine anymore. They don't do anything that wives do. They don't hold the same values that a wife would hold anymore. They mostly hoes. They mostly all doing the same thing. That's why she said it ain't many. And her little devil, the little demon next to her, and we the prize. Y'all are not the prize. And if women can sit there and be truthful in any type of situation such as this, then you have all these other hyenas that don't want her to talk about what they doing. Why don't she want her to talk? Because she's telling the truth. Because if a woman can now sit and say, nah, we kind of ain't nothing. We down bad too. Then how do you think the men have felt in all of this time? How do you think black men have been made to feel in all of this?
And the question that Kendra is bringing is true. They don't care because they have not been trained or conditioned to understand what black men want. They have not been trained or conditioned to understand what black men want. Guys, do me a favor, share the stream on tonight. Shout out to Gregory Scholar and also, once again, my man Brandon Jett for showing love. If this show or channel brings you guys joy, donate to the channel. But in the meantime, as we continue to explore this topic, guys, I need you guys to get the likes up because the robot just came to me and said, tell them Negroes to go feed the algorithm. Thank you. Gregory Scholar said, Kosher, if you get the chance, please comment on the black female therapist named Nicole Lewis. She went online dating. She doesn't want male patients. She doesn't like them being questioned by them. Well, here's a woman, Gregory Scotland, that's in need of therapy herself. Therapists have to be aware of their struggles and also of their biases. In the clinical world, we call it transference or talent transference. So if she struggles with that, it's best that she don't see these men patients because she could cause contagion to the therapeutic relationship. It sounds discriminatory, by the way, but if she doesn't feel like she can adequately work with male patients, then she's doing the right thing by not working with them, even though it's discriminatory to some degree, because you should equip yourself to be able to deal with all populations. However, she does have a right to choose who she wants to work with. But once again, some would say it's discriminatory.
Looking around, and it's a needle in a haystack. It's a needle in a haystack.
I know what you're waiting for. You're waiting for me to just start singing it. But I just think it's like, have we put enough fine a point on this that this woman is married to Jay-Z? She's got children in wedlock. Let's not skip over this. Legitimate children in wedlock. Married for a long time to Jay-Z. And she's telling you that you're supposed to be an independent woman. All the ladies, independent, throw your hands up in here. All the ladies get money, throw your hands up in here. Charlie, how your edges are down like that? Tell me how your edges are down like that.
Whew. How does it feel to know that you failed at life? Like, let me rephrase it in a way that you'll be more liable to answer me respectfully, hopefully. But I know you men, you lot don't like to take accountability for a bunch of stuff. So let's say, how does it feel to know that life failed you?
A woman who has chores is drinking a bottle of wine in the bathroom.
And guys, as you can see, Brad been traveling for years. The thing they accuse men of doing, Brad been traveling for years. He's been meeting multiple women from different parts of the world. He's been enjoying himself. And young men and older men and middle-aged men, if you've done the work, mentally and psychologically, you deserve to travel and find a woman or a wife that can meet your needs. You don't have to more or less be a slave to a faltering or failed community. You don't owe no man or woman an explanation. You can live your life on your own terms, consistent with the right to self-determination, the right to live your life on your own terms, free of guilt and free of shame. Once again, we know that there's some good sisters out here, but they are scattered abroad. So if you can't find your wife here in America, then I would suggest that you find your wife in foreign lands, because that's a healthy ego defense mechanism called sublimation. Hold tight.
Like, how does it feel to know that because you are so insufferable, ignorant, and arrogant, that all of the women, all of the female species in your vicinity are repulsed by you? Like, how does it feel to know that because you're so uncomfortable?
And see what these women do, this woman is evil and cruel. Obsidian talked about it on his channel, how he said that some of the women are cruel. And you look at Obsidian is a hardworking guy, man. He's a savant. He's very erudite. And, I'm sure Obsidian has had some schemers around women that, didn't do him right or didn't do right by him. We all have. But a lot of times the minefield for a lot of masculine men, guys, a lot of things with the negative minefield, guys, of what men are saying is that a lot of time the women don't honor and respect their men. They don't honor and respect their men. And because they don't honor and respect their men, they continue to give these men the same pain and hurt that happened to them in the past. Brandon, what happened to Lavelle? I didn't flag Lavelle. Okay, cool. Yeah, but they continue to do the same thing to men These same women use the same tactics they did to men in their youth, and many men go back and relive that part of their life when they were broken and when they were hurt because the women were cruel. They were cruel, and they're still cruel, many of them. But thank goodness that it gets better later, men. It gets better when you operate in your super ego and you're no longer a slave to the vices of poon. And when you can consistently do that in a consistent way, then you begin to evolve as a man. Guys, share this stream with as many men as possible. There's some good men that are listening. They need to hear this. And also donate to the channel if you have not donated. As you know, content creation is time consuming. Thanks again for Gregory Scholar, always showing love, and my man, Brandon Jett. Thank you, guys.
To be around because you're so disturbing to the women in your vicinity. You have to actually go travel to the corners of the earth where nobody knows you. You have to skip out on a 2,000-mile radius to go to a community where nobody knows you because everyone that does want nothing to do with you.
She is on the phone with 911 right now.
But if you are new here.
And see, what's the guy got? Again, guys, this is the shaming language. Look at the shaming language. Here's the shaming language. Blackistan. I have a protruding belly. The shaming language, micro-peen. And so when you tell men they got micro-peens or they got a protruding belly, they always use what they call the worst of black men to paint a narrative about men traveling abroad. And they use negative talking points. You got a small peen, you got a big belly, you're bald, you're stupid, you can't get a quality women here in America. You spend your money scamming, you spend your paper scamming money. I spend my paycheck scamming money and whatever, I can't understand it. Foreign prostitutes. They always talk about prostitutes, scamming, small peen, which is shaming language. And I'm gonna tell you guys, as you begin to evolve, it's laughable. You begin to laugh at it because you know what it feels like to be invisible and not to be respected. And you just laugh at it. It's so funny now that shaming mess don't work because most women can't beat the average man physically. We know there's some women that can, but they have to use shaming language because that's all they know. And women tend to be more verbal than men. But this is what happens once again in Blackistan. You guys see it at the top. The habitat is Colombia and Brazil. And they all use the same types of shaming language to get you in line or to get you to fall in line. But many are beginning to have schema afflictions. They're in denial and they're delusional because many are realizing not only that it doesn't work, but the cognitive dissonance guys have stopped many from seeing and understanding what men want because of this. The cognitive dissonance has caused the invisible man to refortify himself and become invisible again. You men that were invisible by many women in your youth are actually becoming invisible again because, as I said earlier in the show, you brothers are becoming indifferent. And once a man becomes indifferent, then he doesn't care. And that's dangerous because the opposite of hate is indifference or apathy. Many men are becoming apathetic because they understood or remember the pain and the torture. And of course, some will say you need help and you need therapy, you need to get over it. That might be true in theory, but however, when you're in an ecosystem where they don't respect and honor our men or our black men, then what is a man supposed to do? Sadly. Keep listening, guys. Hold tight.
Let's briefly go through the profile of your passport brother. So they are a very dusty sector of the internet. Okay, they are a group of dusty nignogs who travel specifically to get access to X and women abroad. And they say it's because they want access to better groups of women who are fit and feminine and submissive. But here is the reality. These dudes are broke. They're non-select, like philosophy said. They're
and they always use shame and talking points, which is classic projection. Broke, dusty, small ping, using PPP loans to get women or whatever. It becomes very funny, guys, and comical as you begin to evolve as a man. It doesn't even bother you anymore, because once you begin to understand what your worth is, that stuff doesn't bother you anymore, man. You just begin to evolve, you move forward, and you move on, and you just keep it moving. And that's what a lot of men are doing. They're just sitting in the cut. They're going to the grindstone. They're getting their money up. They're getting their passports, because the shaming language don't work. Men don't have the time to give their best to women that think they're superior to them. There are good women out here. There are good women in the world. Shout out to the good sisters. But sadly, they are far and few in between. And those women, there are good women. Many times, these hyenas try to shame them into silence as well. And that's a problem.
See incels who no one wants in America. So they take their little couple of coins that they earn from throwing boxes at FedEx to third world countries, where the value of the US dollar is higher and the cost of living is cheaper.
At any given moment, I was probably chatting with 12 quality men. And I took away preferences. After I realized that...
At any given moment, I was talking to 12 quality men.
Black women, please go to Europe.
Pretend that this is not...
Y'all were literally about to blow the US up because of this passport bro mess. How do you think this is not the same thing?
Black women say that they get much more love and appreciation from non-American men. Has that been your experience?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Black women do get taken for granted in the US, and there is an appreciation and an adoration and an admiration that international men do have for Black women. And this is fetish aside.
What?
Hypersexualization aside, there is...
And many of these women don't understand, guys, is this. Black men that travel want Black women. Black men want Black women. They want Black women. They want them. But it's feel that it's hard to find. It's hard to find traditional Black women because they haven't been trained properly. They don't understand what their mission is. They don't understand their assignment. And because of that, men are traveling abroad. They get women that understand and respect them as men. Consistent with the poll, guys, the question was, have you been the invisible man? And 78 out of 65 brothers said that they have been the invisible man. What does that tell you for the average guy that makes $45,000 to $50,000 a year? This stream proves my point and the point of many men. And it's a problem, to say the least.
It's oh my goodness, you're a goddess, and what have I done to be so lucky to be in your presence?
It's cool. There's some differences, but do you not see the similarities, or is it just me?
What do you guys think? How many bodies does it take for a girl to become a hoe?
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I think it's very age conditioned. But I do think, I don't know, because I know some people, I think it's double digits, yeah. That's when you, become a hoe. I think a hoe can reform, but...
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
What when she goes to church? Yeah. Oh my God.
Rehabilitation.
Only found virgin.
But then, this is kind of embarrassing to admit, but, I am only 19. I've never fucked before. I've still never been fucked. I'm still a virgin.
I don't think that's embarrassing at all.
I've obviously done stuff with guys, 9 guys to count. But people would still call me a hoe because I post provocative or I think it's just very subjective on what you think a hoe is. Mm-hmm. I have people call me a hoe every day because I post half naked, but I've actually never been fucked before. And all my hoeing is I've done online stuff and whatever, but Yeah.
There's levels to hoeing though, so that's what I will say. There's levels. You know, you can get an escort that's going to do everything. You can get an escort that's going to talk to you on the phone. Like there's levels to hoeing.
I mean, one level is language, right? And so, if you refer to yourself as like being fucked, I'm very like confused.
Got him!
Or like made love, or
yeah, you want to use one of the nice words, you know?
Your opinion on this so-called group?
Let me tell you, they weren't even on my radar. You brought it up to me, and then I saw it, and I was just like, oh, that's cute. You know, guys go and get their passports. My son just got his passport last week. He's 9, so that's cool. Passport brothers, that's what's up. Then I started doing the research, and I'm like, wait a minute. Because I grew up, you know, with 2-parent household. My parents still happily married. I grew up in love. Some people grew up in survival mode, and maybe they just in a whole nother dimension of trying to find love or trying to find easy situations and everything. But at the same time, it was like, why do you have to put down the thing that you don't like in front of everybody just to get the thing that you do want?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Back many pounds ago, when in about 2018, 2000.
And God, this woman here is part of what's called classic projection. This woman is part of classic projection. El Guapo and the brother, Mr. OG or whatever his name is, they did a great job, more or less sharing and more or less telling what this woman said and did. Once again, they always project what they have done or are doing. When you got these simps, guys, I had a simp that came on my show about 2 weeks ago and took his phallus out, and that's a clown. But we're gonna get him. We're gonna figure it out. But you can tell the ones raised by their mothers instead of being raised by masculine men. A lot of these guys is classic projection where they're taking unwanted feelings or more or less feelings that they're having because it causes them to become anxious, and they project it to the men that they're talking about. The same women that accusing men of doing things, they're doing it themselves, guys. And that's a problem. That's why you should live your life on your own terms. Laugh at them when they try to mock you. You don't owe no one any explanation, because these last elections, they didn't vote for power. I mean, they didn't vote for family or community. They voted for themselves. So you need to vote for yourself. Do what's best for you. If you can't find you a good woman here, start getting your money up and start traveling abroad to find you a traditional woman. With the understanding that women abroad are not perfect. Women abroad got game. If you're a lame over here, you'll be a lame overseas. But once you become calibrated, once you get the therapy, once you understand what your worth is, you can go in power instead of going in servitude.
2019. I remember this because I was living in Kingwood at the time. And this is on the north side of Houston.
Okay.
And I went out one night just on the hunt. She's known as a rapper out here.
Okay.
Like, people know her for rapping. All this poet and activist stuff, nobody know her for that. People know her for like one of the female rappers in the city. She definitely know how to rock a mic.
Okay.
I say that. But
no pun intended.
Double entendre.
Oh no.
But getting right into it, you know, we got to talking outside the club. She's standing outside her car, and we were talking for a minute. It led to when everybody left, the club was closed, and we were still outside talking. We get to my car, and she gets inside. She playing me all her music, and she starts to want to unload to me about her personal situation. She got 2 kids.
Okay.
And, you know, women love to talk down on the father of their kids.
And this was the Rochelle Gemini chick. They had a lot of smoke for men that travel. You know, and it consistent with what Chantel Simone said. They normally have long TTs, not titties, but TTs. They normally got long titties like she got. And normally they got all the smoke, man. Normally the ones that got the long titties and got kids about multiple men be talking about what men do with their phallus and their money, which is a shame to say the least. But Chantel was right. They normally have long titties or TTs, and you guys are seeing the firsthand. Hold tight.
Kids, you know, which is reckless. I hate when women do this. I automatically shut that down.
Why do you have to put down the thing that you don't like in front of everybody just to get the thing that you do?
You know, I don't know, dude. I don't want to not like somebody I don't know, so stop talking about it. And I shut that down, but she crying about it, how hard it is in her life to be going through this without any help financially and all this. You know, this is what's really going on in her life. And then one thing led to another. I said, you want to go to my house? And she agreed. She left her car there. We drove to Kingwood. You know, we did what we did. Spent the rest of the night together. First night, took her home. And once we were done, till the sun came up, I took her back to her car, dropped her off, and we had very little contact after that.
Shout out to my man Gregory Scott. He said, Coach, it's interesting. The haters try to stop you with goofy videos. They try to cancel Dennis Sperling, and Chantel Simone has her own moderators betraying her. I'm not surprised, brother. I'm not surprised. I'm at a stage in my life I laugh at people. I meet people where they're at, but nobody makes me do anything. If I got moderators that want to move on because my content is not consistent with their beliefs, I can respect that. But also, if it's a problem, then like the old folks say, you can take your ass on as well. Because I do what I want to do. I say what I want to say. I do what I want to do. We can agree to disagree and keep it moving on. But you're not going to change me, and you will not control me to think the way you want me to think. I think the way I want to think, and you can think the way you want to think. Shout out once again to my man, Gregory Scott. I appreciate it, brother. Thank
Hello, lucky person. You got the number
She
right.
invited me to one of her shows a few days later.
A dynamite.
I go to the show, we talking,
Dynamite.
and she's a little standoffish because I guess she has somebody there.
Right.
And but we speak, we were cordial, and at the end of the night, I see her leaving, and she left with another guy. You know, who I don't know if that could have been the baby daddy, the guy she lived with. I don't know who he was, but she was really nonchalant with me, acting like she really didn't know me personally, even though we had just spent that night together.
But is it all about sex and just a girlfriend for hire?
And this is what I want to say, man, because for you to criticize Austin and you say that he's trying to get women to come home on the first night, the spirit of prostitution is in everything that you're doing.
Oh,
the way that you're moving, the spirit is the same.
Hi, I just finished my chores and I've been on TikTok for 5 minutes. And I have a question for the Passport Bros.
All right, guys. So you see the pathology of so many modern women in modern times. And once again, this topic is dear to the heart of a lot of men because some of you men are or have been invisible. You've been invisible to the world. You've been invisible to women. You've been invisible or more or less taken granted for everything that you've done. The mental health of a man is where he has value and the world see him as valuable. Teddy Pendergrass said in the past, he said that you inspire me. When a woman can inspire a man, when she can love that man outside of her feelings and her solipsistic nature, then that man can become the better version of himself. But a man can't come or become the better version of himself when that woman is more concerned about her feelings instead of being concerned about the mission. That's why passports and sublimation is the cocktail, guys, that's going to liberate a lot of men. And once you become liberated, you will never see the world the same again because world travel is one of the 7 steps to help you men become kosher, which is complete. So I'm going to show you guys something because we're about to go down the rabbit hole, guys. We're about to go down the rabbit hole. And so we're about to go down the rabbit hole, guys. And we're going to break this thing down from Obsidian as Obsidian talks about the issues that we have as it relates to modern women. Let's do it. Down the rabbit hole we go. This is the part of the show where we assess, examine, collaborate. All right, guys, let's look into it.
Because we don't know any better, or because we're too lazy, or because nobody has ever called on us to repent.
And this was a clip that Obsidian had on his show about the Michael B. Jordan fiasco. But actually, guys, before I bring this video up, hold tight. let's read through. Let's read through about Michael B. Jordan and this evolution of Michael B. Jordan, and if you men can relate to Michael B. Jordan and some of the things that he's been through. So this goes back to the woman that called him corny, and she says it never happened. Of course, they say it never happened. Once you begin to grow, and once you become a better version as a man. Hold tight, men. All right, so I'm going to read it, and we're going to break this thing down. All right. So Michael B. Jordan was called corny, and she says she never called him corny. All right. So let's read it. Class reunions can be the absolute worst. A lesson the host of the Morning Hustle, L'Oreal, learned publicly during a red carpet interview with Michael B. Jordan. While speaking on the red carpet before the premiere of Creed 3, the interviewer mentioned she and the Black Panther star had gone to the same school in Newark, to which Jordan replied, "The corny kid, right." She denies having said that during the awkward exchange, and now the journalist claimed that she was called out for it never happened. And that's what happens, guys. They always have selective amnesia. But I'm sure she called Michael B. Jordan corny. Many of them see you as corny until their better years are gone. Many of them see you as corny because the beauty that they once had is fleeting. Their best years are gone. Now they're dealing with the trauma of worthless men that used them, men that violated them, men that lied to them, men that told them that they will love them. Now she wants you to come and to love her, her baggage, her trauma, and to bring her into your life, but at the same time give you subpar behavior like rashing out sex that she gave to other men for free, projecting her pain onto you as a man. And I'm sure she called him I'm corny because, like Mike Jones said, back then she didn't want me. Now that I'm hot, they're all on me. Let's finish reading, guys. Call up with the Undressing Room podcast host to discuss the online reaction and fallout. Post Jordan claims L'Oreal told the outlet that while the veteran Wild Star actor was definitely the focus of some teasing during their time in school together, she said that she never called him corny. I wonder if it's true. She claims the confusion comes from a 2021 episode of her podcast co-host Dominique Davida said she thinks that the Hollywood A-lister seems to be a nice, corny guy, and that the comment must misread as her own school story. One of the things you don't want to do, men, as you continue to evolve as a man, you don't want to be seen as a nice guy, because many nice guys are disingenuous. You should always want to be seen as a good man and a respectful man, but never a nice guy, because a nice guy is a sucker. And many times they want a nice guy once they've had their fun, once they gave their belly years to unsavory men, and then all of a sudden they want a nice guy only to, after a few years being married to you, to divorce you because she's had all types of men with different phallus sizes, having her back blown out, but now she wants you to come into her life to give her the accoutrements of a woman that has a low body count or is a virgin, and now she wants you to give her the world. And what I say to you is that don't do it. The website, The Shade Room, known for trending celebrity news, drug up the 2021 clip and posted it to their Instagram, proving L'Oreal's memory about the comment to be accurate. In her podcast clip, you can hear Dominique saying this: "You know what I really think down inside? I think Michael B. Jordan is a nice, corny guy, and I don't mean that as slight. We all know the nice, corny guys treat you the best." Now, you guys saw it. This is what Dominique Davida said. And guys, this is what happens. This is what happens when you get with women like this. They give their best years to goofy men. And many of them have been imprinted by multiple men. And when she get with you, if you're not experienced in sex, because there are 33% of men that are still virgins, then you can't do nothing for this woman. That's why I believe the divorce rates are so high, because many of these women have been very promiscuous. But they're trying to switch things up, and they'll say, I'm a born-again virgin, and, I love the Lord, and all that, and there's nothing wrong with getting your soul right. But some of these women are not worthy of a man like yourself, because you did the right thing. Let's finish reading what this woman was saying. Hold tight, guys. All right, so while it appears that L'Oreal is correct, she never called Jordan corny. However, she did admit in the 2021 episode to have taken some part of the jokes made at the actor's expense. According to the host, many classmates bullied the Fantastic Four star because his name was the same as the iconic Bulls player and Space Jam star. She also claims he would bring headshots to school, L'Oreal says in the clip. And so that's the schema, the affliction that many men have had, many men still have, because they never recovered, because it impacted them. That was traumatic for a lot of men. And some people will say, well, let's get over. Well, you can't get over it. You don't always get over stuff like that. Some men get over it, but many don't. It just depends on the temperament of the man or how chronic it was. If it's something that happened one time, then you get over it. But if you were consistently harassed in school and minimized and disrespected as a man, you're not going to get over it. You know what's so crazy? I went to school with Michael B. Jordan at a point in life when we went to Chad Science in Newark. And to be honest with you, we teased him all the damn time because his name was Michael. His name was like Michael Jordan. Let's start there. He was no Michael Jordan. And he would come to school with headshots. And back then he was like, we lived in Newark. That's the school hood, we would make fun of him. What you going to do with your stupid little headshots? And look at him now. I'm going to tell you, man, something. You don't go back to the people that disrespected you as a man. Even if they come back and apologize, they can never have a role in your life because they violated what your boundaries are. That's why I say a man that's in his super ego is an evolved masculine man, and he's not a slave to box. He's not a slave to it. And so people that did you wrong, if they ask for forgiveness, you can choose to forgive them so you can heal. But you don't have to have a relationship with those people. You just keep moving on, and you go with a woman that's going to celebrate you, that's going to honor you, respect you, and that dirty word that used to be in the vows years ago, obey you as a man. If a woman can't obey you as her husband, then she's not worthy or ready to be your wife, because obedience is something we all got to do. We all got to obey. Men must obey the laws of the land, and a woman must obey her husband. But so many women see the word obedience and honor as a trigger word because they're always associated with the worst. That's why many times when women look at men and black men, they think of black men through oppression and through abuse. It's always oppression and abuse, but there's no evidence to prove that they were oppressed or abused by the men that they're accusing them of, because many of you men were invisible to many women. L'Oreal says that she only went to school with Jordan for 1 year before she moved to another school. Despite their history and awkward red carpet exchange, the interviewer told TMZ she has no beef with the actor and she's still rooting for him. It's common for someone to pick on someone for their name. It can be exasperating if you share the same famous sports star name. However, Michael B. Jordan looks to have gotten the last laugh pretty much everything he has set out to do. The actor is set to star in Creed and make his directional debut. And see, guys, that's something called sublimation. Sublimation and passports. That's something called sublimation. Sublimation is what Michael B. Jordan did. He took a negative impulse. He took something that was bad and turned it into something good, to the point that Michael B. Jordan became an evolved masculine man. And that's what you men must do. Let them laugh at you. Let them mock you. But you got to continue to recalibrate your mind. You need to get that schema healed. Take that maladaptive schema, turn it to a healthy schema, and you say to yourself, I will. And the more you do that in a consistent basis, then you will slowly become the better version of yourself. And that's the power of transformative thought. That's the power of heteronormative masculinity. Let me read through some of these comments, guys, then we're going to get into this clip real quick. No doubt, shout out to everyone then. Guys, once again, donate to the channel if you want to. Share the stream, and we're going to continue the conversation. Let's listen to what Obsidian was saying. Let's listen to it.
And so then that led me to the study. And so as I was going along, initially I was keeping up with names and addresses and all of those things for that so-called research that they talk about. And then I found out that we didn't have a control group. There was not one set of Negroes that I could point at and say, well, these particular Negroes over here, they didn't suffer from the psychological trauma of slavery, so we don't have to deal with that. I found out that all of us had the same problems and that we were not as different as we think we are. We are all doing the same things. We're all practicing the same patterns of behavior. A pattern is something that people follow because they think it's the right way to go. We have been doing it and approving that behavior between each other because we think, well, this is just how you do it. We have not represented our own ideas. We have not had anyone to represent our own ideas to us. The only place we have learned about how to be a woman or how a man is to be a man is on television. We haven't had that kind of a chance to study ourselves. The white woman has been the only woman we have had an opportunity to study every day of our life. On television, in every magazine we ever picked up, in every newspaper, on every radio. She's been the only model we have had. And if we think that that's not important, then we need to, look at that again. We have studied that, and we have made up and came up with requirements that the white people have set for us for our man. And if he cannot come up to those requirements, then we have decided that he is impotent and unable to be our man because he disqualified.
And once again, guys, I'm going to do a show called Kosher Hypergamy versus Carnal Hypergamy. Kosher hypergamy is fit and proper. Every woman is hypergamous in her nature. But kosher hypergamy does not more or less exploit or violate another person. But many of you men that make $40,000 to $50,000 a year, which is not a bad salary, still continue to feel that you are inadequate. And you don't have to feel that way, men. You don't have to feel that you are inadequate because of your monetary earnings. Continue to stack your money. Continue to love yourself. Get your passport, which is a form of sublimation. It's a healthy ego defense mechanism. And become the better version of yourself. Keep listening, guys. Get the likes up to the 7 that are watching. Donate to the channel if you have not donated. And thank you guys for tuning in. Keep listening.
Because he does not qualify by the standards that the white people have set up. We think a good, successful relationship is one where everything goes our way. The first time it stops going our way, then we got a serious problem. We want our man to do everything we tell him to do, but we don't want to do anything he tells us to do. Yeah, it's hard language. And all of our so-called educated class together have never come up with an agenda that brought the people together to try to improve their condition like the Black Man's Guide. Not a one of them have ever had a program that got all of the black people talking, got all of them out. Made everybody decide to make a comment whether they wanted to or not. People are compelled to testify all over the country. I can't walk the street. See, we've never been examined, as I said, in the breakdown of every relationship.
And guys, this is what happens even to good women like this woman. This woman needs armed security because when you begin to speak truth to power, consistent with what they did with the teacher Jesus or the prophet Jesus or the Son of God, and every good man that lived, they seek to crucify him. They seek to destroy him. They seek to cancel him. Because many can't hear the truth, because many have a condition, guys, and it's a serious condition based in delusion called this. Many have ego syntonia. They think that the way they feel is normal, And they think that's how they supposed to feel. And that's dangerous because you should always feel uncomfortable in your pathology. But sadly, many women in the West and some of our women think that their pathologies and their thinking errors are normal. And that's ego syntonia, which is a serious issue.
Each party in the relationship shares 1/2 the responsibility. That's 50% of the responsibility. So yes, the black man is 50% responsible for the breakdown of our relationships. And we are the other 50% half responsible for the breakdown of our relationships. And I ask black women, if you do not want to accept 50% of the responsibility, what percentage do you accept and how does that behavior manifest? And I guarantee you it's already in my book. Because this lists the things that we do. We've just never seen it in print. We've never had it out front. We've never been busted. But now we have the equality we've been crying for. They're busted and so are we.
To then fire back, have their own conversations that they were already having in barbershops and locker rooms and all of that stuff. It just got brought to the public square where they could hear it. If you listen to most Black American women, when we have these conversations, they act shocked. And the reason they act shocked because most of them grew up without men around. My mother heard this. She heard me listening to Obsidian one day, and you know what she said? She's 80 years old. You know what she said when she heard him? She said, "I like that kind of talk."
Well,
why did she say, "I like that kind of talk," and women who are 30 said, "I can't stand that damn Kevin Samuels"? The reason why is because my mom grew up with a black dad who was a Marine Corps veteran in World War II. She said, that's how
$50,000 a year black men, been in the industry for 20 years. I can help any way you need, brother. Yes, hit me up, theobsidianfiles@gmail.com. I love you, brother. Thank you so much for your support. My man Jamari81 with the $5 super sticker. Appreciate your face.
They can't understand. All right, guys, this is a conversation that some of the brothers were having. And basically what Obsidian was saying is this. He was basically saying that the world is cruel to a lot of black men. The world is cruel. And the world many times is not ready to hear and understand the struggles of a typical man. That's what the issue is. So this was a conversation that Obsidian had about men and men being corny. Shout out to Pablo Fresco. What's up, brother?
Everybody they call corny seems to be interesting to me. It's like, yeah, you into geology? That's interesting. You know, black women say that's corny. You into metallurgy? That's interesting. No, you want to be an engineer? That's interesting. To them, that shit is corny. Yeah. So I'm starting to think, whenever I hear them say somebody's corny, I need to go hang out with them people, man.
Shout out to my man, Kevin White, for the $10 super sticker. I appreciate it, Kevin White. And Kevin White showing some love. And that's a deal right there.
That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? That's a bet, right? That's a deal, right? That's a deal, right? Got 5 on it.
All right, we're going to get back into it, guys. We're going to get back into it. Shout out to the brothers that are in. But see, guys, this is part of what some would call, consistent with Crim Secure, she called it a lost value system. We live in a world where they value swag over intellect, over men that are well-studied, over men that can articulate or conjugate their words. We look past those men. Many women look past those men until their beauty begins to fade and they become traumatized by men that lied to them, abused them, hurt them, and left them with multiple kids. And that's a problem, and that is the problem, sadly. But see, when men begin to evolve and realize that their worth is greater than box alone, that's a man in his super ego, as I said before in the past. Once that man can get in his super ego consistently, he will no longer be a slave to the shenanigans of sex alone. And when you can get at that level of your life, man, not only are you dangerous, but you are very powerful. Keep listening.
Yeah. McDowell's in the building with the $5 super chat. He writes, this whole ordeal adds direct supporting evidence to what St. Kevin said. You already met your husband, but you blew it. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let me give my man St. Kevin a posthumous Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Because he was right. Indeed, the Godfather remains undefeated. Let me thank my man Terrell for becoming a $5 patron. www.patreon.com/MumiaObsidianAli. And we continue in open forum discussion. It is popcorn style. Anybody else wants to jump in?
Yeah. I wanted to say. Hold on one second. I want to say that for the most part, and like you say, Obsidian, it's not all, but I think for the most part, Black women are not visionaries. Not all. They can't really see a man's future. And I know it's like we all young in high school and everything like that. So you don't no one see it at that time. But even men at that age, or even a little older, can see the potential that maybe, someone like if you're a senior and the girl might be a junior, something like that.
Because many live in the now. The gift that God gave men is not only provision as it relates to finances, but provision as it relates to seeing the potential that's based on spatial reasoning. Men have something that women don't have. We have better gross motor skills, but also men tend to have what's called spatial reasoning, which is approximation to a situation. A man can look at another man and say that man is about 6'2" or 6'3", and normally we're right. I can look at a person and can tell how tall they are. But many women live in the now. They don't live in the future. And they look past good men in their belly years only to put them men on the back burner to be sad, angry, and broken when that man travels abroad and go to a culture and a country where they value architects, they value engineers, they value well-spoken men, they value that over swag. And there are a lot of good men that have the skills that a lot of women won't. And many of these men are beginning to be happy, and I'm happy for them because the mental health of a man is extremely important. But sadly, many men have went by the way of the grave through suicide and self-deletion because they are broken and they never knew what their true value was.
That you could see the potential in her beauty, you know what I'm saying? And we might tell the younger guys that's by her age, like, yo, shorty gonna be a little bad when she get older. You know what I'm saying? So women have never really had that. That's on a minor level, but women have never had that vision to see things before they happen. Because on a high school level and even college, if you're attractive, you always had access to the top everything. So you never really had to have a vision to see what things were going at, because you could always just get with the guy or get with the situation that was popping. So you never really had to have any vision. So when they was looking at a Michael B.
Shout out to my man Barry Hamilton for the $6 cash out. Barry said for always supporting the show. I appreciate it. And Barry Hamilton, you are dynamite. I appreciate it, brother. Thank you, Barry.
Hello, lucky person. You got the number right, because you are talking to Kid a Dynamite. Pure Dynamite.
No doubt. I appreciate it, brother Barry. Thank you for the 5. Thank you for the 6. Thank you, sir. Hold tight.
Joy. Well, let me finish. When they was looking at a Michael B. Jordan, because he was on the soap operas too. They didn't really see the vision in that situation. You know what I'm saying? Like how men have to see men. I just ended with this. Men have to see the vision because, as you say, Obsidian, we always got to get everything from the mud. So we got to look at we could look at an old school car that's parked in somebody's backyard on bricks and be like, yo, you put a little money into that joint to be all right. But your wife is fussing and arguing with you wasting money. But then once you done restore the thing, is worth $150.
And guys, that's currently the situation I'm in right now. I got a 1999 Buick Riviera. And I promise you, I kicked in at least, I just kicked out $1,000 getting the AC fix. I kicked out $1,800 getting the power steering fix and also the power steering and also the power, the brake stem or whatever. I kicked out another $1,000 getting the oil seal fix. Now the next thing I got to do, guys, is get my rims bleached and clean. I'm going to get the interior done, which is going to be about 6 stacks, and I'm going to get it painted. When I'm finished with it, I'll take some pictures. And it's going to be nasty when I'm finished with it because y'all know how I get down. It ain't got no swag to it. I don't mess with it. So you guys are about to see my Riviera at some point. It's going to be on point when you guys see it because I got that Leo swag. So, but this brother's on spot. He's on point because men can see the good because we are visionaries. But see, when you got 2 visions in a home, man, I'm going to say it again. When you got 2 visions in a home, then you got confusion. Her vision should be under your vision, and she should be a supplement to your vision. And being a good man, it does not mean that you don't listen to what your woman is saying. It does not mean that sometimes you don't go with her decision. Sometimes what she's trying to give you could be a better choice. But at the end of the day, man, you make the right choice, and you make the right decision based on what you feel is beneficial for you long term and also for that family.
50,000, you only put 30 grand in it. Now she want to ride in, and now she want to sell it or reap the benefits of it. So men have always had that vision to see nothing, to be able to turn nothing into something. That's it.
Yeah, and let me get. I'm gonna come back to your point, Demetrius. Let me get Coach Ali's corner with the $20 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. He writes, "This isn't even a surprise at this point. Just another protest by black women. Remember when they boycotted one of Michael B. Jordan's movies because he was dating interracially at the time. Same with the actor from that Nat Turner movie. Yeah, I can't remember his name right now, but I know exactly who you're talking about. And you know something, Demetrius. I hate to say this about black women writ large. I really do. But goddamn it, the truth just has to be told. They really putting, not all, but the majority are putting themselves out as basically dream killers is number 1, and dream freeloaders is number 2. See, I don't have a problem with a sister just not as into it, brother. That's one thing. She's whatever he's on, she ain't vibing to. Fair enough. But they got to put it down and ridicule it and cajole you and tease you about it and all that. See, that's the problem I have on the one end. Then on the back end, when you make something out of yourself, now all of a sudden they want to do, hey, big head, they're freeloaders.
Yeah.
They are. They're freeloaders, man. That's what they are. Freeloaders.
And you can contest it, and you can contest to this, just to switch it to Ace metaphor, because he know what's up. Because I went to, because of you, I had looked up his tour, and I went to the one in DC because that's where I'm at. Okay. And you saw his old lady, brown skin, got locks, nice shape. You know what I'm saying? Was I dealt with her because I bought some of his products. She was real, complimentary and just real cool. Energy was cool. So he know what brothers is talking about and what they're looking for, because to be honest with you, out of all the women I saw in there, I was like, damn, who was Shorty right there? And then Ace ended up identifying her as his lady, and you just saw a dead stare. You would have thought Ace had horns growing out his head once he had told the audience that was his lady, because they was just devastated. But he knows what men are looking for, because he got that. He got that in his lady.
Oh, speaking of Ace Metaphor, he's live right now. We're going to go to that right now and check out the Ace Metaphor live right now.
And guys, I don't know too much about this Ace Metaphor guy, but many men or many women or many men lie to women. They lie to women for profit and gain. But see, what a lot of black women, not all, but what a portion of our women got to understand, black men owe you nothing, and you don't owe black men anything. We all must equally work for what we want in relationships. But black men don't owe you nothing. We don't belong to no black women because sadly, many of our women vote for themselves. They don't vote for the greater collective of black men and family. There are some sisters that do it, but by and large, many don't, to say the least.
Yeah.
Hang on. Let's all take a look. Let's all take a look. So came from this barber shop. No problem. Listen, we have no problem with Ace's with success. You do not hate on his success.
Let's get this going.
but we just know we know that he knows that what we're saying is true. That's what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
He know what's going on. He know what's really going on. He needs to stop fronting and stop trying to pander to these women. I mean, because I don't want to make any assumptions. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, you got to give shout out to the hard-working black men out there.
With a narc, I love him. He's cheated and lied.
Hey, real life, we should be thankful that they giving more content for our brothers like Obsidian and them to make some more money, because let's keep it going. Y'all go ahead and sit. We're going to go ahead and check it. We're going to let Obsidian and them get on their head. You know what I mean? And we're going to watch it while we driving across the country getting money.
I can understand why the dude said he got feminine talking points, but I don't know what's up with all them little colors in the studio, man.
Oh yeah, that's the lighting for the he does the okay. So he bought a home.
That shit look good though. That look good though. That's nice.
He bought a home and he lived in Buckeye.
I don't know if y'all was watching
and in the basement he converted it into a
long good podcast, and I forgot to hit the record button. And let me tell you
it
something.
Good.
It really hurt my soul, man. It looks nice. I'm still recovering from that. What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Ace Metaphor. I ain't gonna do that shit again. That was dumbass shit I did. Never again will I do that dumbass shit. But I was going real hard. All right. Before I get to this question, I want to say something to the brothers real quick. All right. Fellas, these traditional gender roles are getting you fucked up. And let me explain what I mean by that. If you think that just because you're a man, there's certain things inside your household you won't be doing, you don't understand what marriage and our partnership looks like. Just because a woman is taking the lead in the house.
And guys, listen to this poor brother. I don't know who he is. I heard of him. He's a fool. And I'll tell him to his face he's a fool, because women want you to be traditional when it benefits them. And the key word, guys, he said was partner. Your wife is not your partner, she's your wife. But see, many of these young cats, because they were raised by the moms as well, they use word like partner. They use word like partner or whatever. They don't see the man as being the chief executive in that home and that woman being his help. But they use words like partner because they want egalitarian relationships. And many times your millennials and your zennials will use the word partner. Even some of your Gen Xers will use it too. But your wife is not your partner. She's your wife. You should love her. You should protect her. You should die for her. You should guide her. But she is not your partner. She is your wife.
Household don't mean you don't pick up a dish, don't mean you don't mop a floor, don't mean you don't fold no clothes. Sometimes you got to realize as a teammate, even though this person is leading, I'm there to support. I'm there to pick up where you fall short, and vice versa for women. Just because you bring home the bacon, what if you get hurt? What if you get sick? She got to pick up the I'm just getting sick of this rigid view of
Orlando, dude, she's not your partner, bro. She's not your partner. She's your partner if you are modern and you live in modern times, but she's not your partner. A woman is never a man's partner. She's either wife or she's a helpmeet. The word partner is a new construct. You never heard the word partner until modern times. Now, I understand that some people use the word partner and they don't mean anything by it. But many people use the word partner based on how they were indoctrinated in school. A woman is not your partner. She'll never be your partner. Because partner means co-equal in power. In relationships, there is only one power dynamic, and that's the husband. It doesn't mean that men can't assist and help their wives. It doesn't mean that men can't help their wives. But at the end of the day, that man is the leader, because if anything fall, he got to take the fall for it. So that's what it is to say the most part. Hold tight.
This is man things and this is woman things. No, we got to get this done inside our household. The dishes got to get done. The rent got to get paid. And we got to figure out how to do this, okay? Period. But what happens is sometimes you get done with your job early, your roles early inside the day or the week, and you think that means kick your feet up.
Jackson prototype.
Your feet up, while her job is still need to be done.
Money.
And if you're not offering to help, and this
Good on
goes
him
vice
for doing
versa
that.
for
Good on
women
him.
as well.
He's getting money,
You're not
yo.
offering to help.
mad at him for
That's
that.
why people feel like
Good
they're
on him.
Ain't nothing
overworking
wrong with it.
relationships because one party gets the easier things and the
All
other one gets the
women in
harder
the check.
things. It's statistically proven.
What this young man don't understand, in theory, some of the things this man is saying is true in part, but what this man don't understand is this. When a woman signs up for the office of being a wife, she comes in with a mindset to serve. I'm not saying that men should just be lazy and sit on their behinds and not periodically helping their wife if she needs help. You can ask her. But how many men, even though he said that she's going to do as well, how many women are going to go outside and help that man cut the grass in the blazing sun? How many women, when the car breaks down on the side of the road, going to get out and help that man change the tire? How many women are going to defend the home if somebody break into the house? How many women are going on top of the roof to help fix things on top of the roof? How many women are going to get on the car to change the oil? You got to know what you sign up for before you become or get into a relationship. Know what you sign up for. If you're not willing to sign up for the duty in the office of the relationship, then don't get married and stay single. Because there are going to be times when that man's going to do more. I've been married for 27 years. And there's going to be times when the woman is going to do more. That's just the nature of marriage. But when a person have a heart to give it their best at all times, then that's another thing. There are going to be some times when the woman's going to be doing more than the man. There are going to be some times when the man is doing more. But you got to know what you're getting into before you decide to sign up for the office of marriage, because it's work. It's not easy. It's a lot of work. And sadly, many don't want to do the work.
That women are doing more work, unpaid labor per week than men are. So even if she has a 40-hour-a-week job, she's also coming home and working 20 or 30 hours in the household more than.
Well, Ace Metaphor, it's simple, brother. Just stay single. Because, see, I never understood it, guys, when men say, or some women say they got to cook. Well, if you're a single woman, you're going to cook unless you're eating out. If you're a single woman, you got kids, you're going to cook unless you're going to be eating out. So that's a mute argument. Just stay single, because see, if a woman got a 9-to-5 job and she's a single woman, she's still gonna clean the house. She's still gonna cook if she's a smart woman, and she's still gonna do the things she needs to do. That man is an asset and a supplement to your life. So his argument is a mute point, but it's always coming in from a point of complaining. Did you guys know that there are women that live in other countries that are educated, and they're billionaires and they're educated women, and they still come home and do their duty because they understand tradition and they understand that they were made for their husband. The woman was made for man. Man was never made for the woman. But so many men are simp servants. They've been trained to think like women. They don't understand what their mission is. I'm not saying you can't help your wife every now and then periodically. But if she want to be married to you, it should be an honor if you're a good man. I'm not talking about these lazy men. And I'm not talking about these dusty men that don't have visions. I'm not talking about these men that abuse and use women. I'm talking about hardworking, white-collar and blue-collar men that put in the work. Stay single, women. If you're not ready to serve, just stay single and take care of yourself. Keep your own house clean and cook your own food. Because the same thing that this man is talking about, she's going to be doing the same thing if she's married. You're going to do the same thing if you get married. If you're single, you're going to be cooking and cleaning. So what's the difference with a man in the house? Now you got help. You got a man that can change your oil if he's a good man. You got a man that can wash your car that's going to save you money. You got a man that can cut the grass. That man is an asset to you. But technically, you should be an asset to him because you were made for him. He was not made for you. That man's purpose supersedes you. It's God, purpose, and then you. You don't come before for God and his purpose. But a good man, if you're following him and following his orders and his leadership, that man's going to take good care of you. A secret, women, men love taking care of good women. Men love it. We love taking care of good, noble women. We love being there for our woman. We love giving our women the best. But it's based on something called reciprocity, not solipsism, where you think about yourself only. And sadly, that's what many do. They only think about themselves. And women in traditional countries don't think about self. They think about family. It's about the family. It's not about you. So Ace Metaphor is selling a lot of women dreams. But I'm not mad at Ace. He's a businessman. And businessmen like him and Derek Jackson continue to cause the schemas that many women are dealing with because when they hear and understand what men want, it leaves them perplexed, to say the least.
That man is, and you may reason, well, I'm bringing home the bacon, well, so is she. So here's what I want to tell everybody that's watching, male and female. When you get married, when you are in a committed relationship, when you are partners, y'all both are going to do things that are traditionally the other person's role. It is 2023. Wake the fuck up. If you are a man and you don't know how to warm up a bottle to make sure your baby is fed, that's a problem. That's a problem. Okay? Depending on the financial situation of the relationship you are in. If you are a woman and you don't know how to be financially responsible and you are spending all the family's money and y'all ain't got money for rent, that's a problem. So we need to come together and realize that although you are taking a lead with doing this, I am here to support you. All right? If you need me to do something, just tell me. All right? Now, I know I'm preaching. I need to be preaching to myself because I'll be honest with you. I rarely wash clothes. I need to do better myself. So this is to all men. This ain't just
I wash all
men beside me. This is me too.
Teenager.
This is to me too. So I'm gonna wrap this up one more time.
I wash my clothes.
Yeah, I wash my clothes every day too.
Hey, no, I would be interested
Men
to
and
see
women,
this analytics
these
for
masculine,
itself.
feminine,
Like,
traditional
what's the
roles is
viewer
getting us
rate?
messed
I feel
up.
like it's
Because
all
when you
this
get
is
married, you
geared
are that
towards
person's
women.
partner.
Everything you're
Even though that
talking about
person
is
may
for
take the
women.
lead in a certain avenue inside your life. Maybe this woman takes the lead in the household. That doesn't mean you don't support. Support means helping wash the dish, helping vacuum the
This is
floor.
the type of
If
shit
this person
females
is
talk
sick,
about.
making sure
Yeah,
you
this is
fold some
hypocrite
clothes
at best.
and vice versa. We need to make sure that we're getting into this thing thinking about a partnership and not we separate but equal. I'm doing my thing over here, you doing your thing over there. Because sometimes, what that does is, and I'm gonna be honest.
What this guy don't understand, I'm not mad at Ace. Ace is making that money. He's a smart man. I ain't mad at him. Your woman is not equal to you, and you're not equal to her. We're not equal. Men and women were never equal. They're equal in human essence, but they're not equal in role and design. I'm going to say it again. They are equal in human essence, meaning they are essentially human, but they are not equal in role and design. Our archangel is not the same as a messenger angel. A male lion is not the same as a female lion. They're both lions, but one is a male and one is a female. And so this is the problem. This is the problem. And this is the problem that a lot of men are having, guys, in relationships. Too much distress, too much dysfunction, and too much pain because many don't understand the mission. That's why men are checking out at record numbers. That's why men are beginning to love themselves more, because they realize that they have inherent worth and inherent value.
It creates this distance.
I'm trying to talk about F-22 fighter jets and shit.
This is our house. We both need to take care of it.
Motherfucking super tankers and
It's our house.
tanks.
We both need to pay for it.
How to make some money.
Especially considering that most people are not privileged to be in a situation where they can enjoy just a traditional relationship. Okay.
What?
All right. Cool. Now I'm gonna get to y'all questions.
Let's hear the questions, because I know it's females. Let's hear the questions.
Oh yeah. Let's listen. Let's see what they have. As for this whole cleaning thing, that's an easy problem. That's an easy fix. You hire a maid, cleaning service.
Right.
It's cheaper. It's cheaper.
All right.
That's all. It's just cheaper. You hire come out to the crib.
Y'all done put some boy. Y'all done fill these questions up.
You can keep the crib afloat in between her twice a month visits. Cost you about what? Maybe $500 a month. It's
right. All right, let's take it there. So I talked about this a little bit ago, but I'm going to talk about it again. So the question I just got asked was this: why do men show more love to their homeboys than to their women?
Here we go.
I got in trouble last time I made a video about this, so I'm gonna be careful this time. Listen to me.
You better be careful.
There are some men that they do not like women as people. as friends.
I wonder why.
As souls.
I wonder
they
why
are
that
only
is.
attracted to women sexually and or romantically. They do not view you as an equal. Right. They do not like hanging outside of sex and intimacy with you. Okay? And because of that, you'll find that this is the reason why some men cannot emotionally connect with women. Okay? They don't like them for real. You can be a misogynistic man.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
You can literally hate women and sleep with them. And for you guys to think that that's not happening,
that's a feminine talking point. Feminine talking point number 2.
Here we go.
Let me expound. I'm gonna take it back and then I'm
please
come
do.
full
Please
circle.
expound. Please give me more material. Please. This is great. This is must-see TV. Let me see something.
I think his feed froze.
Not that, yeah, his feed froze. We see the feed, the actual text feed going, but something on his camera froze. So
this is strike number 2. This is strike number 2.
You said, hey, bro already said he got a baddie too. So you already know he in the game, bro. He in the game deep.
Yeah, sure.
You know all her friends. You know all her friends baddies too.
And so our girls do this. So some men grow up.
I know he's
with a disdain towards.
That's what it is. She whipped him.
Feminine qualities and feminine characteristics because they've been introduced to them to stay away from it.
Dishwasher. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
From a hypersexual sense. So, for example, men think that being feminine equals being gay, and I don't like.
Huh?
That's what it is, bro.
No. What we was talking about, like, I think that a lot of this type of stuff is the effect of having beautiful women and not being rich.
Right.
I'm not saying, bro. I don't know if he's a millionaire. I don't know his financial status, but.
And you guys see the foolishness of this guy. This guy knows what he's doing. But it's a lot of men that think like this. You got a lot of men that think this like this. And one could argue that this brother is intentionally doing what he's doing. But a lot of men think like this, guys. And many of these men, guys, are simp surfers. Hold tight.
These men are coming together. They must be stopped. Who hurt these petty fools? Their mama is black. Who hurt them? They must be gay. I must go cause confusion.
Yeah, he got to cause confusion, man, because he don't know no better. Bless his heart.
Millionaire dudes don't have to kowtow like that to beautiful women.
Right.
Now, if you ain't rich yet and you got baddies, that's a different. You have to interact in a different way because you don't got the
is better than thinking with emotion, as if the way you process things is better. Men are better. We're stronger. We're smarter. As if you start to learn that. So I said all that to say that.
You won't catch Andrew Tate talking like this.
Nope, sure won't.
He's physically going all over the place.
You have to understand.
But bro, cool though. He just talking to women. Like, he's giving. This is real game right here.
He's not speaking for all men.
You as a peer.
He getting paid.
They
This is
don't
all
think that
women.
y'all on the same level. A lot of men that you are dating don't.
So he's selling out.
This is like we're like this is like what Love Dorsey do to us.
Bro, ain't that much bots in the world that'll make me act like
Love Dorsey get up there looking good, and then like she spit her game on us, and we like her. You feel me? Like, that's what he doing to women.
She put a whole thing on him. He's whipped, bro. He's whipped. And I guarantee
but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's the point of
I know as a fucking servant and not as a person. Because again,
for real, I know dudes has been whipped. I guarantee you, if she leave, he'll be a whole new different person.
Wow. So we was told that he was going to come back here.
Your opinions, the way you care.
I think it's fair to say that plan has been scuttled.
All right, guys. It is safe to say that many of you men that are listening have been victims of harassment. You've been victim. I'm gonna speed it up. You've been victim of unsavory women, and many of you men are struggling today because you were hurt by multiple women and women in general. The truth is this, guys. The truth is succinctly this. You don't have to be a victim of your past. You don't have to live in mental purgatory. These shows are more or less created to help you change your thought processes and eradicating the stresses and the struggles that you've been through. Hold tight, and I'm going to end the stream in a minute. Hold tight.
$ Obsidian Radio. Let me see if I can try to get through some more of these cash apps here before we sign off on the air today. We're continuing in open forum discussion. It's popcorn style. If you want to join the discussion, the link is in the chat room. Go right ahead.
Ace, I want to say this right quick. Ace being he's being disingenuous when he mentioned that cleaning thing. I just want to say that because the brothers can contest to going in.
Shout out to my man Byro Hammer TV for the 5. I appreciate it, Byro Hammer. And because of your kindness, man, you are dynamite. Thank you, brother. I appreciate
lucky
it,
person.
Thank you, sir.
You got the number right, because you are talking to Kid a Dynamite. Pure Dynamite.
Thank you, brother Byro Hammer TV. Thank you for your love and support. And also to my man, Barry Hamilton. Consistent brothers always showing love. I appreciate it, man. Coming all the way from Great Britain, I believe.
Into women's cribs, and it looked like third world country.
Like a bomb hit it.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We got to stop playing with that. Brothers be on that cleaning thing, man. Like, stop it. That's all I wanted to say.
More guys' cars are cleaner than women's cars. That's something I've
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, to be fair, nobody's going to accuse me of being a clean freak, and I will own up to that. Because I'm so engrossed in my work that things can pile up around here. I will freely admit that. But my plan is, once I got everything together, and the contractors will be out this month to get things going on the renovations on the big living room studio and all that. Once everything is in place the way I want later this year, I'll just go ahead and flip for a cleaning lady and come through and take care of it. So all that talk about, I'm doing all the housework, we're going to eliminate that problem right off the rip.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is? The whole problem with his premise is that he's saying that sometimes the women can lead and sometimes you can lead. Listen, man.
Right.
There's only one leader. There's only one. There's only one leader.
I agree with that, brother. It's a difference between a traditional relationship and an egalitarian relationship. Most modern women want egalitarian relationships. It's consistent with socialism, where they both have equal power. And guys, this goes back to the original fall of man. The Bible says she will have a desire for her husband, meaning she will want power in that relationship. But the Bible said that he will rule over her. So it basically means that the man should lead his woman in fairness and justice. But women, she was never supposed to have power over her husband. She was a helpmate, and she was made to help him meet his mission. It doesn't mean that men minimize women. It doesn't mean that women can't have a voice. But the husband is the leader. She follows him. He doesn't follow her. But that's why some of these men are so damn extranized, because they follow their women.
Leader, and that's me. Okay, if I bring you into my life, I make sure that I cover everything. See, this whole debate about dealing with, okay, sometimes you pay this bill, you pay that bill. Listen, when I was married, I covered everything. Why? Because it's my house. I run this. This is me. So the whole thing about this, and the reason why the passport bro thing is so appealing is because it gives that natural balance. Because as men, we want to be the chief breadwinner.
I give you a point about that.
Yeah, hold on, brother. Brother,
I disagree, brother. I disagree.
No, let me just say this. Just walk with me for a minute. Check this out. In Western society, we have an artificial dynamic where you have, with the modern economy, you've had an equilibrium between incomes, because back in the day when the men were making most of the money because the economy was based on physical work, where you have to go out in the field, you have to go and, do real work. And that's why men, those of us who grew up and we saw our grandfathers, our fathers doing blue collar work and all that, and our mothers stayed home. Now, with the advent of the modern society, you have this thing where women can make the same amount of money as a man working in the field. So in their mind, they're equal, when in reality.
But here's the problem with that. You making money doesn't mean you're equal to your man in authority. Women equate money as power and authority. And that might be true to some degree. But a righteous woman understands that her making money does not supersede her responsibility. Her money is to help her husband and to help the family. His job is to use that money wisely, and they build legacy together as a team. And that husband sometimes delegate responsibility to his wife where he have shortcomings or deficits. Men, we can't be so strong and masculine that we can't delegate certain things to our wives. Our wives have talents and gifts as well. And she might be strong in an area where you might be weak. But this egalitarian stuff, guys, it's a destruction of many modern relationships, and it should never happen.
It's just based on an artificial economy. Now, that creates an imbalance in terms of nature, because as a man, our nature is to be that protector and that provider. Now, again, I'm not saying that a woman can't contribute to the household, but we want to be overseas.
But listen to what I'm saying.
I lived overseas. I lived overseas for 3 months. When I tried to wash the dishes, she kicked me out of the kitchen and said, "Go watch TV." She took care of those dishes. I tried to do that.
But hold on. Besides the dishes, though, hold on, brother. Hold on.
What is he saying there?
Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
Now,
Yeah. Let me. Why I got the mic? Hold on a second. Let me thank my man Anubis for the $5 cash app, $ Obsidian Radio. He says he's not coming back. The rabbit has the gun. He's talking about Ace. He said he ain't coming back. Let me also get my man Jai Block in the building with the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, brother. He writes, "It's all equal until a woman tears you down because she has to pay the bills." Yeah,
exactly. But no. Let me get my
man Patrick. Thank you, Patrick, for becoming a new $10 patron. www.patreon.com/MumiaObsidianAli. Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, I didn't finish my point.
Now I would like to disagree, but hold on, brother.
Let me finish. Before you disagree, brother. Before you disagree, let me get the whole point out. Now, my point was, when it comes to the appeal to the passport thing, is because you don't have in these other countries the dynamic of the competition when it comes to the income. Because a lot of the women, even if you just base it on the dollar and in their local currency differential, even if you were making the same money as one of them, just from the dollar standpoint, you're making more. So that gives a man an opportunity to still be in that lead role of being the primary breadwinner.
Now listen to what I'm saying.
Hold on, let me
wrap it up real quick.
This is the only point I'm taking. The only point I'm making here is, when we talk about the reason why men are wanting to go overseas and to do all that, is because it's not just because of sex. It's not just because they want to get just a woman, just to have a woman that's easy to get and all of that. A lot of it has to do with, it ties into our desire as men to be the leader, and we don't have this competition thing that we see in the West. Because in the West, if a woman feels like she's making as much money as you, it's very hard to get her to follow your lead, because at the end of the day, she feels she's as good as you, especially when all of this stuff in
what's
society.
The point, bro?
Hold on. The point I'm making, bro, is that you have to make sure that you understand what the nature of man and woman is. It's our nature to be leaders. Women are supposed to follow. When you have a society that can I speak, bro?
You keep going from point to point.
I'm making this.
Brother Lavelle, cam up in the back, brother. I can't see you. If you can cam up, brother Lavelle, in the back so I can see you. There you go. All right. Brother Lavelle, how are we going to answer the conversation, man?
This is a very complex and interesting topic, to say the least. But I believe that relationships, at the end of the day, based on where they at in the conversation right now.
Yes, sir.
It's all about work and you being willing to, you know what I'm saying? Work on yourself while the other person is working on themselves.
Right.
And then agreeing to endeavor to work together.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, in a general sense, that's what you're going to be doing in every relationship you get into anyway. But if you don't, kind of like learn to simplify things and learn to how to, like engage in a way where you both are interested in working together, you're gonna be repeating the process over and over and over in every relationship that you get into until you understand. There's no finished products. Nobody is a finished product. There's always room for improvement. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody has, what do you call it, personality hangups or imperfections or whatever, and you have to be patient with those things. You have to be patient, be willing to be patient with those things, as you would want somebody to have the same grace for you. You understand what I'm saying? Right, so at the end of the day, as long as you both are agreeing to work on those imperfections and agreeing to work together for the overall good for both parties, it's gonna be a painful, repetitive cycle that you're gonna get into with every relationship that you get into. Pretty much.
Let me ask you a question. Lavelle. When you talk about the invisible man, did you ever experience that? Because I believe you are a clinician too. Did you ever experience being the invisible man? And what would you share with the younger brothers about ways to overcome it? I think I've explained it, but explain how you overcame being the invisible male, if you were the invisible male in the past.
It's kind of hard to say, you know what I mean? Because like most of my young adult life, I kept busy, right? I was going to school, I was playing basketball. Right. I decided to go to graduate school, so on and so forth. So I kept busy with things. So it kind of, I don't feel like I was ever like invisible. But there were times where I had to, what do you call it? You know how like when you're on a team and you have to just, sometimes it ain't your day. Like say you're playing on a basketball team, you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes your teammates have a better day than you, and you kind of gotta, applaud. You're there, you're visible. You was a part of the win, but you kind of gotta applaud. Today is somebody else's day. You understand what I'm saying? Right, so I can't really necessarily say that I was invisible, but at the same time, I have had those experiences where I had to be, the guy that's applauding the person who had the better day at the time. You know what I mean? So, but one thing that I do know is like with life, you kind of gotta stay busy, so that speaking to people who may be feeling invisible, mastering what you do when you are, mastering what you do when you're bored, like that mastery of yourself, where you always trying to learn either learn something new, or ingrain yourself in being better in whatever your craft is. Like those times you play basketball where, you had to, you probably your season probably didn't end the way that you wanted to, but you had to, you understand what I'm saying? You address that by getting in the gym, getting up those shots, and basically mastering your craft and trying to be the best player, adding things to your game that will make you better the next time you go out there and go out there and get on the court and so on and so forth. So, me being a basketball player, I always, my one thing that I always go back to in my mind is, those times when I had to, you had to push through those difficult times with being a serious athlete, when, in a competitive environment. You know what I mean?
Mike Jones said, back then they didn't want me. Now that I'm hot, they all want me. Was that you? I don't know where the echo is coming from. Is that you?
Oh, hold on. It might be that I'm sitting next to the fan. Hold on a second. I got a fan blowing. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, okay.
I got it. No, still an echo.
Back then, anyway, now I'm hot. They all on me.
Yeah, Mike Jones.
Mike Jones, right? I mean, I guess, you know what I mean? Like I said, I don't know, because I never, and I'm not bragging or anything like that, but I never really had an issue with, you know what I'm saying, attracting women. My issue has been getting along with them long term. You understand what I'm saying? But like, as far as like, I never had a dry spell where it's just like, I guess women are not attracted to me. I never had that. So I don't, you understand what I'm saying? I never experienced that, me personally.
What do you say about the corny guy? They call Michael B. Jordan corny. What's your take on that?
That's kind of, I mean, like, I think all of us men kind of go through that at some point, like, like, especially like, going with my limited experience, you know what I mean? With, just like in high school, there's always like, there's kind of like a social class going on where there's the cool kids and then there's the athletes and then there's the not so cool kids or something, so on and so forth. And at some point, I think to everyone, at some point, you're kind of, you know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be that clash in classes, you know what I mean? Where one group of people may accept you more than another group. You understand what I'm saying? But like, it's like you have these experiences where when, like, just like when, I'm sorry, repetitively repeat myself, but when you get put in certain situations where you just out of your element, you're not in your lane, you're gonna kind of look lame or corny to, you know what I mean, to the people who are more seasoned or experienced in whatever lane, you know what I mean? Like, it's like taking an athlete and putting them with the kids on the debate team. Okay, the athlete is out of his element. At some point, he's gonna make mistakes and make himself look like the outcast and so on and so forth. But when the athlete is in his element, you understand, he like a fish in a fishbowl. He's cool. He can do all the tricks and, you know what I mean? He does his own thing. So, you know what I mean? That thing with Michael B. Jordan, I think all of us guys have been there where there is I guess at the time, a woman you was attracted to who didn't really, I guess, who didn't
celebrate.
Yeah, or she didn't value you at the time. She didn't she didn't seem like, I mean, like, you didn't appeal to her in a way that make it worth it for her to want to, be in a relationship with you or whatever, and you kind of get, outed, but you move on. Sometimes it's not that big of a deal, but it's funny when you finally do get it and you finally do make it, and life is kind of funny how you run into those same people when you were down or when you weren't so influent or whatever. They they had a lot of negative things to say, or they kind of treated you bad. Because that's another thing too. There's a saying that people never forget how you make them feel.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like when most people are just not necessarily just being malicious or cruel, but you have to always be like conscious about like how you deal with other people, because you never know what the future holds. There's a saying too where you kind of gotta be careful of the toes you step on, because it may be attached to a backside you might have to kiss later.
That's true. That's true.
So it just seemed like that's just one of them kind of situations.
Right. I'm gonna ask you this question, and I believe you are a clinician like myself. I think you are. You are, right?
I had I had a training license in I was an LPCIT.
What is that?
Licensed professional counselor in training.
Oh, so you never finished?
No, I never finished my license.
Okay, gotcha.
License or partial.
Okay. So LTD, LTR. What do you think about the passport movement and men using that as a healthy coping mechanism to help them deal with modern women?
It's a good thing, when people don't value you or respect you. Why waste your time in that arena? Why waste your time around those types of people who don't value or respect you or make you feel like you're less than or whatever? Why congregate in those spaces? Why don't you go and find a lane or a place where, it's more suitable for you, for your own mental health, for your own sake, you know what I mean? Because Sigmund Freud had a saying: before you go, diagnosing yourself with depression, make sure you're not around a whole bunch of a-holes.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So like, just all of us pretty much, we have that need for acceptance. It's one of those things that's a part of the hierarchy of needs. You need that acceptance. You need that sense of belonging, and so on and so forth, for you to be mentally and emotionally, mentally and emotionally stable. You understand what I'm saying? And if you don't get it, you gotta, we have some people have strange ways of trying to, seek that attention or seek those psychological needs, those physiological and psychological needs that you need to be in that, operate in a healthy space. So I don't feel that the passport guys are doing anything wrong. It's just that there's certain people who kind of like, they just, how can I explain it? They glorify or capture one part of it. You know what I mean? And then because people are attracted to negativity sometimes, people try to, basically, put everybody in that every passport bro or everybody who goes abroad to do whatever, they put everybody into that one category of the, I guess it's, what is it called? Sex trafficking.
Right. Sex trafficking.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's much
which is a serious offense, by the way.
Yeah, and if you're not careful, that can get you in a lot of trouble. You know what I mean? But
the problem is these people are lying, man. They're false allegations.
Yeah,
they don't have any proof. They're just making up stuff.
And they're hypocrites.
Based on projection.
They're hypocrites because they're being hypocrites because in the same light they're saying, oh well, don't just because you find something that you like to do or whatever the case, you know what I mean, or you don't have to go and bash what you don't want. You could just go and do what you want to do. But you're kind of doing it. You're kind of doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? If somebody being a passport bro offends you that much, why are you paying attention to them? Yeah, so much.
Right.
You got so many other options. You got so many other things to entertain yourself with, or so many more speaking topics to speak on. Why are you so infatuated with the passport boys and what they do if they offend you so much? You know what I mean? It kind of don't make sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's oxymoronic. It's definitely oxymoronic.
Right.
But real quick before I end the stream, I want you to get out of the show, man. And, how was it beneficial about passport bros are becoming the new invisible man, which basically means the men that were invisible in the past, they're becoming invisible again because they're becoming indifferent.
I kind of don't see it that way. I agree in a sense. You understand what I'm saying? But I kind of see that the passport bros, they kind of can forge their own. You understand what I'm saying? Forge their own destiny. You know what I mean? They don't have to buy into the naysayers and what the people are. The lane that people are trying to carve out for them to make it all bad and so on and so forth.
Right.
If they become, they find a way to censor themselves and basically find ways to, basically project themselves in a more positive light.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Passport Bros is a great movement that can have where they're traveling the world. I mean, you know what I mean. They don't have to stop with just negativity. And then like too, I think too is the way that sometimes when you're successful at something, you kind of get, or you become on, the higher you go up on the ladder, people notice you. But
that's true.
Everybody. Oh, I'm sorry. Everybody's not gonna like you or be fond of you. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be some people who are just.
My point is, LTR, there's been a brigade of men that were invisible in their formative years. They were seen as corny and lame. Now these men have reached a level of status and acclaim. They're going to become invisible by choice this time, meaning I'm not going to be around the people that didn't venerate me, honor me, and respect me in the past. So invisible by default the first time, invisible by choice This time, passport bros are becoming the new invisible man because they're choosing to be indifferent. Do you see my point?
Right. Yeah, and in that sense, that's kind of like that's a good thing because you can use that. You can use your invisibility to create a whole new identity and create a whole new lane for yourself, which can be a good thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's more my thought process about it. Is like, you know what I'm saying? If things weren't hot in America, you know what I'm saying? Why sit there and tank and to the because there's people who delete themselves behind some of the things that are taking place in America, with like the child support and divorce court, the things that happen with being in failed relationships or whatever. I don't know if it's if we're talking about that enough, but there's people who are actually hurting themselves because they are not doing anything to avoid these toxic pitfalls. You know what I mean? Like, not too long ago, that guy, what's his name? He's the Power Ranger guy.
Right.
Jason Frank or something like that.
Jason David Frank.
His wife went and filed a divorce, and he decided to take his own life. You would think that, you know what I mean? He he's a person that has status and somewhat of an affluent person.
Right.
That he wouldn't. He would have more options than to feel like that would be the that would fix the situation. So if a person like that would have got a hold to a passport or been around somebody who was a passport boy, they could have just said, "Hey, bro, let's go over here and you know what I mean. Let's do something different to just cheer yourself up a little bit." You know what I'm saying? Maybe he would have still been around. You know what I mean? So I feel like this passport thing can be somewhat of a therapy to a lot of people. You know,
it is.
Especially those who have experienced failed relationships or are going through difficult times with a relationship that is failing. You don't have to stay there. You don't have to sit there and tank. You can kind of go and explore other options, reinvent yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
So real quick, I'm about to end. How have you reinvented yourself, Brother LaBelle?
Well, first of all, I've done the same thing that that's being preached with the passport bros. I decided to go to another country and kind of see where I fit and explore other options versus just because I was going through a tough divorce and having some of the same issues that I was just talking about with Frank, but I just felt like, you know what I mean, I had to make it work for myself, and the only way I felt that it would work for me is if I get away from the chaos, get away from, you know what I mean, the people who want to take me or want to make me suffer or whatever the case, and get away from them and create good space for myself so I can clear my head and clear my thoughts so I don't end up in a situation like Jason Frank or the other people who, when they're hurting, they end up hurting people. You know what I'm saying? So I felt like being able to get out and move around and see experience different cultures and experience women in different places, it's a plus. It was a good thing for me. I would encourage anybody to just do it, just to clear your head and just experience something different, so that it's life outside of your situation. Life is still moving outside of the situation when you're in a bad relationship and you feel like life is tanking and so on and so forth. There's life outside of that situation. You know what I'm saying? If you could just, sometimes change your environment, you know what I mean? Change your environment so you can clear your head and kind of, experience that life is going on somewhere else, and you don't have to sit there and tank.
Very much true. Well, listen, I'm gonna drop you down, brother. I appreciate the LTR. It's been a minute since I seen you, man. Good to see you in the house, man.
All right.
And I'll see you around, brother. Take care. All right, guys. It's been a good one. Enjoy, brother LTR, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. The same people that call you men corny now are going to come back at some point in their lives and honor and respect you as a man. To the 70 that were watching, thank you guys for tuning in. we're going to sign off as back then she didn't want me. Now that I'm hot, they're all on me. Being corny is only temporary. Being great is forever. Signing off, men. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have not gotten any help concerning your mental health, go do it, because as the times are moving forward, men are becoming indifferent. And the dead bones that were once here in America, men are leaving Babylon and they're going to Zion, where the eagles soar and where dead bones can come alive again, consistent with Bishop Charles D. Williams. Guys, thank you for enjoying the stream. Thank you guys for all the brothers and sisters supporting the stream on tonight. We'll see you guys soon.
Then said he unto me,
Then the Lord said unto me,
prophesy unto the wind.
Preach unto the wind.
Prophesy, son of man.
Preach, son of man.
And say to the wind.
And say to the wind,
Thus saith the Lord God.
Thus saith the Lord God.
Come from the four winds.
Come from the north, south, east, and west.
O breath.
O breath.
And breathe upon these slings.
And breathe upon these dead bodies.
That they may live.
That they may live.
So I prophesied as he commanded me.
So I preached as the Lord commanded me.
And the breath came into them.
And breath came into them.
And they lived.
And they lived.
And stood up upon their feet.
And they stood upon their feet.
An exceeding great army.
An exceeding great army. Thou wind, and preach to the east wind, and preach to the west wind, and tell the wind to blow on these bodies. And the preacher started preaching, said, all winds, all four winds, said, blow on these bodies, that they may live. And when the preacher started preaching, the wind started blowing, and all of those dead bodies, they came alive. The Bible said, and they stood up on their feet, an exceeding great army. But I heard the preacher said to them, you've been here long enough. You've been down in Babylon long enough. You've been dead and dry long enough. You've been separated long enough. Now let's come out of this valley. Let's go back to Zion. I heard him said, follow me. It's time now for a new beginning. Enough is enough. It's time for a new beginning. Come on and follow me. I heard them singing, and they started to Jerusalem. We are marching to Zion.
I'm tired of America, so I'm hitting Richie on the net. I got the tickets, that's a bet. We need the link, my brother set it up. Damn, I didn't had enough. Ooh, I won't lie. Can I get a little shake with them fries? My skin tone is matching your eyes. Black men, you know we like them thighs. And baby, she can do it all. Your land is my land. Cut through.
Fire! The Clinician.
If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. Heaven and hell, that's what they told you. Real men put the strap down and we can toss them. Young heads picking back up and young dolphins. This is our culture. Now we talking kosher. Clinician, masculinity issues. Asking fathers who miss you. Mama drama don't kiss you. All a part of the ritual. This is how they get you. Separate the men, women, clipping babies pretend to. Damn. Lovers, haters, acting like vultures. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. If it ain't seven, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, ain't right, gotta divorce us. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. This is kosher condition. 7 wonders, the whole world gotta listen. Listen. Listen.
It's not my fault.
You've been lying, saying that I took away your peace. Drowning by yourself, now you wanna blame me. Like you have no options. I ain't take your options. Nah, I'm not the problem. Man, that's on you, yeah. You've been terrorizing me, yeah, I'm always wrong. I knew you lost your mind when you dropped that bomb. Girl, are you crazy? Yeah, you must be crazy. I've been thinking lately it's you. You stole your peace, put it on me, but baby, it's you. Lie like a ride, but take your stuff back, baby, it's you. Whatever, and I would never. Yeah. You've been flexing everywhere. Girl, look in the mirror. Man, you so dirty. Yeah, you look so dirty. You were never worthy. Lately, it's you. You stole your peace, put it on me. But baby, it's you. Lying like a ride, but take your stuff back. Baby, it's you. Baby, it's you. If I control the weather, then every day would rain on your parade. Shine, you can't shade, yeah. If I was Father Time, then I would change the day. So I never saw your face. What do I have to do to make you go? Oh, baby, it's you. It's you. It's you. It's you. count me out. I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account. Now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out. I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account. Now I got something to spend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I just pull it out and count for nothing when I'm feeling great. Give my baby little more just to spend it, and I'm always on go. I don't hesitate. Used to always know I make it, yeah. I'll be me until I'm in the grave, yeah. See my record, had to set it straight, yeah. I make a kid like 10 times 10. I got wires coming in, some in euros, some in sec, some in dollars, some in yen. I've been trying to keep my zen, keep my cool. Trying to keep the family fed, get my food. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. Did it, do it. I did it all, no gimmicks. I did it all, no fibbing. Now I got all these children, now I got all these clones. Now I got all you twinning, now I got all you thinking like all you winning. They tried to count me out, they tried to fill that doubt. They tried to ride my whip, they tried to knock me out. They tried to count my wins, they tried to show my yells. They tried to make me in, they tried, but where they now? Where they? Step in the spot and they stare at me. All of these battles will bear me. I swear that nothing compares to me. Feeling blessed, I won't stress. Beat the odds, you know the rest. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend. They tried to count me out, I'ma gon' count me in. Fill up my bank account, now I got something to spend.